Have you ever heard of a man who, after being arrested for crimes, began claiming from inside his cell that he was God? A man who saw the Mount of Olives not just as a sacred site, but as the epicenter of his divine rebirth? What makes an ordinary mind collapse into delusion or transform into something transcendent? Today we delve into one of the most disturbing cases in modern psychology, a story that merges religion, madness, and fractured identity into a single, spiraling descent. The true account of a man who believed he was chosen by celestial forces to trigger a new judgment day, and it all began with a visit to Jerusalem. Jerusalem is not just a city. Since ancient times, it has been a symbol, a sanctuary of prophecy, conflict, and faith. For some, it offers peace. For others, it awakens something terrifying. In the presence of the stones that have seen prophets, crusades, and divine wars, certain minds collapse under the weight of spiritual pressure. They cross the fine line between devotion and delusion. In this sacred and haunted landscape emerges a rare clinical phenomenon, Jerusalem syndrome. It's a documented psychiatric condition in which visitors to Jerusalem, often with no previous history of mental illness, suddenly develop acute psychotic episodes, believing they are biblical figures or that they've received divine missions. Some recover within days. Others never return to themselves. Our protagonist, whose real name was never disclosed, was a seemingly average man, born in Eastern Europe, raised in a traditional Orthodox Christian environment, surrounded by images of saints and apocalyptic sermons. His life was mundane, a quiet, emotionally distant laborer. But when he climbed the Mount of Olives, everything changed. He claimed to hear a voice, not metaphorically but audibly, clear, commanding. It called him by name and declared, "You are chosen. The world has deviated from the truth. You must restore divine order." In the following days, his behavior unraveled. He abandoned his belongings, refused food, wrapped himself in a white sheet he called his holy mantle. He stood atop the mount and began preaching a new scripture. Not the Bible, but revelations he said were being transmitted directly from the heavens. Witnesses saw him near the Garden of Gethsemane, declaring that Judgment Day would begin in 3 days. Police detained him when he tried to interrupt a restricted religious ceremony, carrying a makeshift wooden cross. He refused to state his name. He only said, "I am who I am." From there, he was taken to a psychiatric hospital, and the transformation only deepened. Inside his cell, he wrote obsessively in ancient Hebrew, a language he had never been taught. Doctors were baffled. No brain damage, no drug use, but his belief in his divine identity was absolute. This is where theology, psychology, and terror converge. Within the sterile walls of the psychiatric facility, his delusion evolved. He no longer referred to himself as a prophet, but as God incarnate. His writings became scripture-like, poetic, apocalyptic, consistent. He wasn't raving incoherently. He was building doctrine. Psychiatrists attempted to pierce the delusion. They failed. He responded only with verses or silence. He never used a personal name again, only referred to himself as the Eternal. A seasoned doctor later admitted, "He didn't seem mad. He made you question your own sanity." This case became an international anomaly. Unlike typical Jerusalem syndrome episodes, which are brief, his lasted years. Medications had no effect. Antipsychotics failed. He interpreted side effects as sacred trials. And then, followers appeared. A small, secretive group gathered outside the hospital. They called him not a madman, but the new Messiah. They shared his writings, claiming to receive visions. They came from different countries, France, Ethiopia, Russia, Brazil, all guided by the same dream. All led to the same place, the Mount of Olives. Authorities took notice. The group, dubbed the Olivet Circle, began spreading prophecies through encrypted online forums, rituals, apocalyptic warnings, threats. It wasn't just a psychiatric case anymore. It was a spiritual virus. He remained silent, but his silence was like a ritual, patient, expectant, almost liturgical. Over time, his behavior became even more symbolic. He referred to himself in the plural, marked the moon phases, observed forgotten holy days. A psychologist remarked, "This wasn't madness, this was a parallel religion." And the world? It watched, unnerved, powerless. The hospital had become a shrine. Visitors tried to bribe their way into the psychiatric ward. Windows facing his cell were blacked out. Yet rumors spread. Every gesture became sacred. A sneeze, a prophecy, a silence, a message. A follower tried to burn herself alive outside the facility. She survived, declaring it an offering, commanded in a dream. This wasn't isolated madness, it was contagion. An international psychiatric panel evaluated him. No consensus. Some said schizophrenia, others dissociative identity disorder. One coined a new term, divine identity psychosis, the complete collapse and rebirth of ego as a divine archetype. But the unease grew. He didn't seem crazy. He seemed ordered, timeless. Doctors began having nightmares. A nurse returned to prayer after 2 decades. The hospital director, a staunch atheist, was caught staring into the cell for 17 minutes. "I was waiting for the end," he said. Online, a manifesto appeared. The second fire, riddles, timelines, prophecies. No violence, just fuel for the cult. He never acknowledged his followers, but one day, he hummed, guttural, ancient, like a funeral dirge. A note appeared on the floor. "The stone shall split again." A young intern secretly recorded him. "Do you remember who you were before all this?" the intern asked. The man replied, "There is no before when time was created with me." The audio went viral. His cult multiplied. Forums exploded. Was he insane? Or were we simply not ready? Then, people began dying. A man jumped from a rooftop in Berlin. A couple was found frozen in Canada, poisoned by nightshade. All had posted in Olivet's Circle forums. All believed in the rupture, the breaking of the veil between worlds. Doctors who studied the case began resigning. Some had breakdowns, others awakenings. One left a note. "He is not sick. We are." He began drawing symbols on the wall in blood and hair. Astronomers confirmed they matched a rare celestial convergence set to occur in 1 year. The world split. He was a madman, or a messiah, or something else. At 3:33 a.m. each night he knelt and whispered, "The veil is thinnest when the soul is alone," he said. Then came the leak. 33 pages of prophecies dated before real-world events. Earthquakes, pandemics, collapses. Skeptics called it a hoax. Believers called it proof. One line echoed everywhere. "When the second fire sleeps beneath the tree, the sky shall crack and truth shall walk without need of speech." Was it metaphor or a countdown? The prophecy said March 3rd, 3:33 a.m., and on that night, thousands gathered on the Mount of Olives, dressed in white, silent, waiting. At the hospital, lights flickered, then failed. When they returned, his cell was empty. Only one word scratched into the floor: split. Moments later, the sky over the mount twisted. A red beam of light shot upward. Witnesses say it lasted 33 seconds, and then he appeared, barefoot, thin, glowing. He raised his hand, spoke one word, "Awake." It echoed worldwide and in over 40 languages. Deaf children wept. Blind elders looked to the sky. Then he vanished. No body, no DNA, no fingerprints. He was gone. Years later, he became a global myth. No doctrine, no scriptures, just dreams, shared symbols, changed lives. A new term emerged: ego collapse syndrome, the total breakdown and restructuring of self after exposure to the event. People were never the same. So we ask, who are we without identity? If belief can break and remake reality, what is truth? He showed us that belief is a weapon, and identity its hostage. Was he mad, divine, or simply a man, reflecting something we all hide? Maybe that's the point. If he was God, then God is silence, ritual, disintegration, and rebirth. If he was insane, then madness is a door, not a disease. And if he was just a man, then we all are. Fractured souls, dreaming of light, trapped in identities, waiting for the trumpet. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel, like this video, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next posts. See you in the next video.